Welcome to My Spoonie Sisters, featuring stories from special guests dedicated to empowering those with chronic illness. Our goal? To connect people and provide the support and tools they need to live a better life. For those with chronic illness, our energy levels just fade faster. We must be more purposeful with the spoons allotted to us. So grab your coffee or tea, sister, and tune in as My Spoonie Sisters share stories of living with chronic illness. Hi, my Spoonie Sisters. I'm Gracefully Jen, and I am so excited to introduce to you today Andi Byers.
Hi, guys.
I am so glad to finally get to talk to you and see you face to face. Not that everybody else gets that opportunity, but do you want to share with us a little bit about your story?
I am 42, mom of one 17-year-old girl. I have lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia and POTS. And recently, adding to the mix of fun stuff, MS. I am an overall super chipper person. I think I had to go through a very dark time to get to the super chipper person. But it led me to be able to help others. I am a retired Air Force veteran, now chronic illness, holistic wellness practitioner, not the kind that slings these cure-all herb holistic wellness, but and I help people like us navigate diagnosis without gaslighting and like the support, the hug, because everyone needs a hug. Hugs are great.
Absolutely. And I want to tell everyone, I think you might have been one of the first people that reached out to me when I started this whole Instagram journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, to finally like have you on here and be like, oh my gosh, this is the person that almost a year ago
Yep.
out to me and you could feature me and talk to me and ask me about me. And oh my gosh, how crazy is it to know we started from there to this?
It's awesome. You're doing amazing things.
Thank you so much. I mean, if it wasn't for people like you, I'd just still be doing what I was doing. So it's amazing just to see how things can evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as all of your diagnoses, which one came first?
So I started having joint pain when I was like 13, 14 years old, but that was like in the 80s. And so they didn't really know a whole lot about juvenile arthritis. And so the first thing they said to me and my mom was, it was always, it's growing pains. It's because she's growing so fast. It's because she's growing so fast. And then as I got into my young adulthood, it was, oh, you might want to just manage your anxiety, or you're not active enough, or it was because you were too active during your growth spurt years. And so it wasn't until early 2000, I collapsed, and I was stationed overseas, and the German doctor said, did anybody ever tell you have lupus? And I said, well, no. And he goes, well, you do. And you've pretty much always have had it. And it would explain, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay. But then other things started to like present itself. And so now we're scrubbing back through my records, and I had all of the markers for all of these things. It was just, I had a lot of very passive medical treatments. And so it was lupus first, and then they paired that with lupus and fibro. And then my knees started to be all weird. And then they're like, and now you can add RA. And then in 2020, I think I started speaking to you right after that. I had told you I had a random cardiac arrest. And they then associated POTS with the random cardiac arrest afterwards. And so then months after that, I lost the vision in one eye. And I'm like, okay, God, I don't really know what it is you're trying to tell me, but okay. And so I was in a bad place for about 60 days after the last blow. And then one day I was like, but why? Because I have made it this far. And so, yeah, some days are definitely rough.
How's today?
Today is a good day. Today is a good day. I am on a retreat and with some really good girlfriends. And I said, this is the first day I woke up and like, even though my body hurt, my mind won't let my body hurt because I'm on a retreat. And I was like, that just means that I'm going to pay for it on Tuesday when I'm no longer on the retreat. But at least while I'm here right now, I'm just happy. And I'm talking to you. So, hey.
Hey, are you somewhere beautiful?
I am. We are on the beach, but like last week, the weather was like in the 80s. This week, the high is like 62. And so we're like right on the water, so it's cold, but it's still super pretty. It's just cold.
So are you in Virginia right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've never been there. So, I mean, you're talking to a West Coast girl that I think the farthest I've been was North Carolina, and I spent most of my time there in a hotel.
Oh, okay. Well, Virginia is surrounded by water.
Awesome.
Tons of really pretty beaches surrounded by water.
Oh, that would be amazing. I need to travel more someday. It's going to happen.
I see you traveling.
I do, but it's mostly up and down the West Coast where I already live. So, yeah, but I feel privileged that you're taking your time on your retreat to talk to me. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm trying to decide which questions to ask you because I'm trying not to ask the same people the same questions all the time, but some of them are just really good. What does your self-care list consist of? And does it change?
My self-care list is evolving. I can't say, I think I cycle through a whole lot of things. So right now, my self-care consists of getting up and having a cup of tea with my daughter and then just kind of getting her day started before she goes off to school. And that's how I start my day. And then sometime throughout the day, I give myself some time to just breathe and I kind of bullet journal throughout the day. That's where I am right now. My last phase a couple months ago was coloring. Then it was baking. Then I made candy. And now I'm sending out surprise care packages to people. So now that's what I'm doing. So.
Oh, that's exciting. So it sounds like you kind of really like to be a hands-on person.
Mm-hmm.
Different projects of some sort. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. I am very much so a tinkerer.
That's a really good way of putting it. Let's see. How would the ones closest to you describe you?
Nurturing, sarcastic, comedian, foodie.
Ooh, what's your favorite food?
Korean.
Ooh.
So good. So good.
Mm-hmm. I love Filipino food. Filipino food is really good.
Yeah. Oh, that is tasty too. Yep.
And Indian?
It's lunchtime for me. Indian food is super yum yum. If I had to rank my foods, it would go Korean, Indian, and then it would go Italian, and then Filipino, and then Mexican.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The thing is, I really like Mexican food, but then I also really like all the other foods. So it's like they're very close. They're neck and neck.
Well, they're well-seasoned, flavorful kinds of foods that we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we like them, because there's so much involved in I can't words this morning.
You can taste the love.
There
It's
you
like
go.
generations of love. You can just taste
Oh, okay. It's only like 8:15 here, but now I'm hungry. Do you have any hidden talents or a secret gift?
it. I sing. I write. That's it.
I think we need to get you singing in some reels.
You did say that you were going to teach me how to reel.
Yep.
Let's do it.
We're going to have to do it. I can do it by voice memo, right? It's not that hard.
It'll be fun.
Absolutely. If you could only keep 4 items in your Spoonie toolkit, what would those 4 items be? Calling all Spoonies. As a host of a chronic illness podcast, nothing lights up my day more than hearing from you, our incredible listeners. Whether it's a topic close to your heart that you want us to uncover, or you are keen to show your own journey as a guest on our show, your voice matters. Living with chronic illness can often feel isolating, but through the power of podcasting, we can come together as a community to uplift, educate, and inspire one another. Your stories, insights, and questions drive the conversations we have and the topics we explore. So if there's something on your mind, a story that you are just itching to share, or a guest you'd love to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out. Your voice is not only welcomed here, but celebrated. Let's continue to amplify the voices of those living with chronic illnesses and create a space where everyone feels heard, supported, and empowered. Together, we are stronger.
Okay. How big is this kit? Is it like a trunk?
Any size.
Any size. Okay. Heated blanket. Or heated weighted blanket. Knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Arnica. Some type of sour candy, because it would be my comfort snack. And probably a journal.
There you go. I think those are really important things. You can get cozy in bed or on a couch with a heated weighted blanket with your sour candies, and you can journal. Did I leave something? Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect day. If you could create a guidebook for newly diagnosed warriors, what would be the first thing that you would add to the Spoonie 101 chapter?
Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and understanding to know that it's not that you can't do the things that you used to do. It's just that you're learning to do them differently.
I think that's important. Because I think sometimes we can be harder on ourselves than other people can.
Absolutely.
Pushing ourselves much and go too far.
Yep. It took me forever before I felt comfortable using the word no. I just felt like I had to be there for everybody to do all the things all the time. And then I'm like, but I'm always hurting because I'm always there to do all the things all the time. And so when I started to say no, it started to upset people until they understood. Like my mental space changed when I started to allow myself just the time to say no. Just say no. And not feel like I have to explain why. Just no. Why not? Because I don't want to. And then that's it.
Absolutely.
And that's a daily practice. I try to find at least one thing a day to say no to. Completely random. I say, I'm going to say no to something today. And so just to get me in the habit of actually using my voice. So yeah.
Just say no.
Yep.
How did you inform and educate your loved ones about what was going on with your health?
So I would say in baby steps, but even with me trying to tell them what was going on. Everybody goes to old Google, and then they always pull up WebMD that gives them all of the wrong information. And so they thought that they knew more than my doctors. And then even still, it was like, well, I read this article that you could rub this salve on it and then you could be moving more. You just don't want to. And this fast and this juice cleanse. And I'm like, why are we doing this? It wasn't until they actually saw me living it that they realized that it is worse than what they read. And sometimes a cayenne lemonade just doesn't take the edge off of anything to do anything. So it took years. And sometimes I think still some of my family still doesn't get it. They just, see me as Betty Buzzkill, but I'll be Betty Buzzkill in my very peaceful space, not hurting. So it is what it is.
Exactly. How do you know you're about to have a flare up? And what is your main flare trigger?
My skin will start to burn. It's like pins and needles, and my skin will just start to burn. And I'm like, oh, I already know this is happening. And then it'll hit my joints, and my joints will be on fire. I can always tell before, at least a day before it's going to hit me. I'll get lethargically tired. I'm like, it's either I'll get tired or I'm wired and can't go to sleep. And then it's the brick wall. Here's your flare. And now you're going to go to sleep or just sit there. It's very unpredictable, like what type of flare it's going to be. And because I have so many different things commingling, I never know if it's going to be like, oh, it's a lupus thing, or if it's going to be like, oh my gosh, it's you can't see out of one eye. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah, day to day, you never know what you're going to wake up with.
Yep.
It makes me angry for people when I hear what they go through. And so, like, knowing that you might wake up one day and you might not see out of one eye, like that's so frustrating, and it's hard when you want to just fix it for people.
Yep.
And I think I'm still a fixer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't fix myself, and I can't fix anyone else.
Yeah.
And we have to be okay with that. We have to just be okay with supporting each other, and we cannot fix it all.
That's right. But the support is fixing a lot. It makes it easier to cope.
Absolutely. Definitely
makes it easier to cope.
The more people we have in our corner, the better.
Absolutely.
Help the darkest of days.
Absolutely.
What advice has been the most beneficial to you on this journey?
Just process the emotion. And once I allowed myself to start processing the emotion, where I was like, I don't have to put on this strong face. I can just, if I'm mad, then I can just be mad because it's my body. And I feel like I'm being betrayed. And if I want to be sad, I can be sad, and that's okay too. Things just started to feel lighter for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got this, but I still can do this, 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 and this. I had to give this up, sure, but I could still do. I try to find the silver lining in everything. And some days it's hard, but a majority of the time I'm able to find just one thing to smile about throughout the day.
And that can change a whole day.
It can. I don't believe that you can have a bad day. I think that you can have a series of bad moments, and you can choose whether or not it's going to ruin your day. But no one wakes up and just has a bad day.
Yeah, exactly. You can choose to not outer influences.
Yeah.
Ruin your day and your mind and what's going on in your world.
Yeah.
It's a choice, and we have to make it.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard.
Indeed. Indeed.
What's another good one? Have you ever had a moment where you had to show yourself extra grace?
Every day. I have that moment every day because I'm human, right? And I just want to do things, and I know that there's some things I should probably ask for help, and then I don't, and then I'm like, why didn't I ask for help? But I'm so stubborn, but I'm also so needy at the same time. But I'm needy to myself in that I just want to be independent because I used to be so very independent. So I show myself grace daily. For me, it's simple stuff like I'll bend over to tie my shoe and I'll get very dizzy because I know I'm not supposed to bend over at the waist, but I didn't think about it. And I just went to go tie my shoe like random people do. And then I'll get very angry and I'm like, well, you know what? This literally the cross that you bear, and that is okay. Squat and tie your shoe or put on your Crocs. Then you don't have to tie your shoe at all. And then silver lining.
Exactly. Okay. You were the first person I've gotten to ask this question of, and so I'm interested to see what you say. If you could do away with one of your diagnoses, which one would you keep and why? I feel like this is a tough one.
I would, okay. I would keep POTS. I would get rid of all of the rest of them. I would keep POTS because I can tolerate POTS. I can put compression socks on. I can up my salt intake. I can stay hydrated. I may feel woozy a little bit, but my body wouldn't hurt all that bad. And POTS could be, I can make that mild. I can tolerate that.
Manageable.
I can make that manageable.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Well, it's really fascinating to hear that answer because I haven't had the opportunity to ask anybody this.
Yeah, I can make that manageable. I would keep fibromyalgia. I can make that manageable. The rest of them, I would really like my sight back. So I would get rid of the masks. I like vision. I like to look at things, a lot of pretty stuff. And I'm not a fan of burning joints or burning skin. So if I could get rid of those, cool.
Yeah. Did you know anything about the autoimmune disease, chronic illness communities?
Not until about maybe 4 years ago.
And what got you involved in them?
I came across this young girl. I was in a doctor's office, in a rheumatologist's office. I came across this young girl and she was just sitting there and she was in tears. And I'm like, I remember feeling that way. She was like, none of my friends get it. All of my friends are leaving. And I'm like, okay, I feel like this. And the nurse was like, there's all kinds of chronic illness support groups. And I was like, I did not know that. And she was like, yeah, it's the sad state of affairs when we see all these commercials about, pharmacological advances, but not the commercials on support groups for the carers or the people that are going through it. But I think I spent so much time just like not looking up groups on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not by myself. I was actually super, super shocked at the amount of spoonies there are. We're phenomenal people.
We're everywhere.
Really.
I think once I realized that, okay, I've searched hashtags for things before, but I have not taken the time to search spoonies. Wow. Mind blown. All the amazing people that we have been able to meet. Mind blown.
Yep.
Why didn't I do this many years ago?
I know. There is a young lady that reached out to me, and she's 17 in the very, very, very beginning stages of RA. And She was like, you didn't have to talk to me. I'm like, no, I did have to talk to you because I know what it's like to feel alone. And I'm like, this community is huge. I was like, and there's so many warriors that will just love to wrap a virtual hug around you. I said, so just know we're here. I said, and you'll find your group of people, and you'll find your person, and your normal will change, but you'll find a rhythm. But she was so discouraged, and she was so sad. And she was like, sometimes I just don't want to do this life. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. We're not going to do that because you have a story to tell, and she's in another country. I'm like, you have a story to tell in your country for other people that are going through it that just don't know that there are other people like them.
And she can be in the same position that you're in someday. Be there for people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I will definitely check up on you often to make sure you're okay, because you're not alone in this fight. There's a whole lot of people that laid a lot of groundwork that can kind of tell you the things that worked for them. And then you can pick and choose and you build. I said, there's no one size fits all. I said, you build your kit from things that helped other people. And then you see if they work for you. And then you build your magical, this works for me and it makes me feel good. I said, but no doctor, I said, doesn't matter who you go to. They can't give you that one magic thing that makes everything that much better.
I think that's something really important. What I was in the middle of trying to tell you is I was going to say, I think when I was first diagnosed, I was absolutely convinced there was one pill out there or one infusion out there that was that magic thing.
Yep.
And I needed to keep trying, and then I was going to find it. And it took years to finally realize that's not how it works. You have to find the many things that all work together that help you. And it's very individualized. Mm-hmm. We can listen to each other, but they're not always going to work. And we have to be trying and trying and trying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've had a lot of failed things in my toolbox. And then I've had a lot of things that still to this day work very, very well. So yeah, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's definitely hit or miss.
Absolutely. Okay, here's a big one for you.
I'm ready.
If I asked you, which I am, to nominate a fellow warrior, Spoonie Sister Highlight, who would you nominate and why?
I would nominate my very good friend Janet. She has a heart of gold. She just sows seeds of love into people. She has Marfan, and I didn't know a whole lot about Marfan. And so, do you know anything about Marfan?
Not a thing.
Okay, so it is so, not that it's an awesome thing to have, but it's amazing just to hear the story. It's a connective tissue disorder. And so, they're typically super tall and they have like hyperextended joints and whatever, but it's the story of what happens to them on the inside with their organs, because your organs are connective tissues. And so it was just fascinating. But to watch her walk around and just give and just pour into others as if she just makes it look so easy all the time, even though as a fellow Spoonie, I know that she's hurting. It's awesome to watch. It's awesome to watch.
Big shout out to you. You got to listen and hear her shout out. Make sure you send it to her. Her name was Janet.
Her name was Janet.
All right, Janet, you are a warrior. You need to hear this. I'm sure that you've heard it before, but we're going to just remind you right now. You're an amazing warrior, and we just want to shout you out right now.
Absolutely.
What would you tell your younger self about your current self?
Man, you're strong. you are one resilient chick. And it's not going to be one simple thing that takes me out of here.
What do you appreciate the most about yourself?
Empathy. I appreciate my empathy. Yep.
And you're full of a lot of, and it's great.
I appreciate, I think empathy is contagious. I just wish other people understood the power of it. It is so contagious, and we would be in such a much better space as a country if we were just empathetic. You don't have to like it. You don't have to necessarily agree. Just agree to meet them where they are.
And you don't
be
have
okay with that.
Yeah, and you don't have to understand it either.
Exactly. Just meet me where I am and be respectful about it. We agree to disagree, and that's okay. But yeah, I think I would tell her that she is one tough cookie.
Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. I'm trying not to cough. And I just did. What makes you profoundly proud of yourself?
My daughter. Like, just watching the human that I'm raising makes me profoundly proud of myself, because I did that with everything that's going on inside my body. And she is just such an awesome freaking kid. I'm like, I made this human. And all of the things that the naysayers said I couldn't do because I'm sickly, my daughter is the complete opposite of everything they possibly said could possibly go wrong. She's my little miracle.
How old is she?
17.
Oh yeah, you said that in the beginning.
Yeah, we're looking at colleges, and yeah, my heart.
How does she do with watching what you go through?
I think that she puts on a strong face for me a lot of the times. I think that, this might be the question that gets me, Jen. I think that if I could change any one thing about having chronic illness, it would be that my daughter didn't have to be so grown at such a young age. I think, man, I took a lot of her childhood because she was so worried about me. And I'm like, that sucks. And she's like, Mom, I would do it all over again. But
she loves you.
I know. She tugs at my heartstrings.
I think that's part of being a mom.
Yep.
You know, they bring those emotions out of us, right?
I know. I was like, man, I'm not supposed to have the feels all the time. But anytime somebody brings her name up, it just gives me the feels. But anywho, yeah, I think it's been my best job. It's been the hardest job, but the most rewarding job that I've ever had.
How has her health been?
She's great. She runs cross country. She has a couple food allergies and asthma. That's it. But she's out. Let me go run 9 miles, Mom. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, if I just had a fraction. But okay, you do it for us both. Just go run for us both. But yeah, she's just picture perfect.
Does it floor you to have these chronic illnesses and to know, wow, I helped create that? And I'm over here feeling this way, and she's over there just thriving.
Absolutely. But then I say to myself, but I have all these things. Maybe I have them because they were supposed to go to her and they just skipped her on purpose. Maybe I got them so that she would not have them. And so then I'm like, okay, I'll shoulder that, because I would much rather me deal with it than watch my daughter deal with it.
Yeah. And it just, I mean, that goes to also along with how many parents say that all the time. Like, I wish I could carry that child.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you are. And,
Yep.
There's so many parents that wish they could do that.
Yeah.
If you make yourself a promise right now, what would it be?
Be present. The promise would be to be present. I have recently started using my focus hours on my iPhone. And I was like, what is focus time? And so my phone won't ring or I won't get notifications during that time. It forces me to be present in whatever it is that I'm doing. So I just turn on my focuses.
So that's what that thing is that keeps popping up on my phone.
Yeah.
I need to use it.
So when people send you text, if you're on focus, it'll say so-and-so, your message will be delivered silently. They're in their focus time. Your message will be delivered silently. Yep.
Okay. Where is this in the settings?
So if you swipe down from the right down to your phone.
Okay.
And so you'll see like underneath your Bluetooth.
Okay.
It's just the focus and then it's like a moon.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then you can set your focus times.
And hopefully remember to take it off.
Yes.
No, I have this, this keeps popping up on my phone and I think it's popping up on my watch asking if I want to do it. And I didn't know what it was. And I was like, I'm just going to keep ignoring this. I don't know what this is.
Yep. That's what that's for. It's so that you can prioritize what you want to prioritize in that time of downtime.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So if I decide to go to the gym or on a walk, I can do that.
Yep.
Or if I need to just pause and lay down for a minute. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to do it. Thank you. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure to highlight or share?
No, I think that was everything. I think if I could share any one thing with the community, I would say, definitely I'm proud of you. If nobody else tells you that today, and even if you don't tell yourself that today, I am proud of you. Absolutely. You can do the hard things. You could do the easy things. You could do the in-between things. You just do them differently now. So.
Yep. It's made us better. Really.
Absolutely. We learn we can multitask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where can people find and follow you?
I am at Chronically Iconic Coach on Instagram. I am the Chronic and Iconic Coach on TikTok. Yep, that's it.
Okay. I'll have to go find you on TikTok. I don't really use it.
I don't know how to use it. I use it because to do my reels. That's the only reason I use it, so I can post my reels to Instagram. Because I don't know why I don't have a reels tab on my business page. It drives me nuts. And so I was like, well, let me change it to like creator. Still no reels, but every other Instagram page that I own, I have a reels tab. It's very weird. It's annoying me. I don't know why it's doing it. So I have to go outside of Instagram to go inside of Instagram to post anything real like.
Okay, I'm going to do some research, see if I can help you.
I'm going to screenshot and send you what my looks like.
Okay, because that's not cool.
It's weird. It's weird.
Okay, we're going to get you figured out.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we're going to do it. Okay, well, I guess we've covered everything. If there's anything you want me to share in the show notes for your episode that we've talked about, or you want to make sure people can connect with, let's make sure we do that.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining. And
thank you for having me.
I just appreciate you. I'm so
We
excited.
should do it again.
Absolutely. Because we can cover so much. We could do
Absolutely.
it so just talking about the different illnesses and dive
It's gonna
deep.
be fun. Yeah.
All right, everyone out there, thank you for joining my Spoonie Sisters. And until next time, don't forget your spoon. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. The information should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, professional advice, diagnoses, or medical intervention. My Spoonie Sisters and guests will not be held liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Trigger warning. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, and chronic disease. You are advised to refrain from listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. None of the guests or hosts will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Life is not merely to be alive, but to be well. Living a life with a chronic illness is best described with one word: unpredictable. Be Well's products are designed to make the unpredictable easier to deal with. Back when I was getting my infusions, I would have loved to have their adult zip hoodie. They even have one in pink. They also have everything from one-day pill holders to urgency buckets. So remember, they want to make your life a little easier. So be sure to check out Be Well.